Hey folks, welcome back to Hayes Outside. So we're taking a break from our regularly scheduled programming on beginner fishing, and it is late July here in Arkansas, and so I have started thinking about trout fishing this fall. And so I thought about this pattern just the other day. So this is the root beer midge emerger, and this is a great pattern, super easy to tie, very cheap. And whenever you see trout and they're feeding on midges, but they're not coming up and fully breaking the surface, eating dries, they're probably eating emergers. And so this is a great pattern that can kind of mimic midges or emergers. So let's get started. We'll drop that. So first we're going to start with a size 16 nymph hook. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the vise. Okay, so we've got that secure, and I'm using black uni thread 72 denier. So we're going to go ahead and start our thread about a quarter of the way down. We're just going to secure our thread here, wrap all the way down to the bend just to get a base going. So I'm going to do that and snip it right before, just so it's nice and covered. Alrighty, so we've got our base. I'm going to do a couple loose wraps, bring it forward. So this is very similar to the root beer midge than what we're going to do. Just a few extra steps and a little different. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our small gauge copper wire, ultra wire here. We're going to get that secured in. So the key with this and with a lot of midge patterns is you want to tie in your materials for your body on the side so that you don't make it too thick, because you got to think midges and caddis, things of that nature, are real slender. So go all the way back to the bend, do a couple wraps forward again. So that's good and secure. And then the next thing we're going to do is our brown hollow tinsel. Same material that we're using for our root beer midge that is on my channel. So we're going to take a piece of that. So we've already got our thread started here. We're just going to capture it if I can get it. Oh, I'm struggling. Capture it so it's on the top right there, but I'm going to wrap it in on the side just like we did with our copper wire. Okay, a couple loose wraps to bring it forward, back up to the eye. We're just going to leave our thread there. So like I said, very similar to the root beer midge. Same process. We're just going to wrap this hollow tinsel one after the other, just barely overlapping to get a nice uniform body. We're going to bring it all the way up to the eye. Oop, that one's... Make sure that's good and secure, nice and tight. So all the way up to the eye, we're going to wrap it. So I like to do 2 behind, and then 2 in front. Well, more than 2 in front, but that's okay. So look at that right there. Kind of got a piece kicking up, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect at this point. Snip that out. So we're going to take our copper wire, and you're just going to wrap it. Get some nice segmentation here. Nice evenly spaced segmentation. Little piece right there is giving me some fits. Okay, same thing, copper wire is a little heavier, so we're going to do a couple wraps behind to secure it, a couple wraps in front, and then I like to put my thumb right at the end helicopter it off. So that's a good clean break. Okay, so there we go. Looks very similar to a root beer midge. The only difference is instead of using thread for the body, we've got some copper wire for the ribbing. And then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our all white elk hair. So you're just gonna take a little clump and you kind of want to grab a few more than what you anticipate. So something about like that. You can hold it, strip out all the excess fibers. We're going to take our scissors, snip it. So we're just trying to get a flat, even piece right there. And then we take our thread, pull it tight, and you're just going to do one kind of loose wrap. I can do it. I'm missing, of course. One loose wrap, kind of farther back, to just capture those fibers to start. And then we're going to pull out our excess, because we'll have a few of those. And then you're going to want to build your head. So we'll do a bunch of wraps. You want kind of a nice, smooth, rounded head, but you don't want anything too extreme. We've got this little kicker piece right here that I can't seem to grab. Pull it all back, all up and back. Okay, so there we go. We've got that, and while we're here, we're basically done. So I'm going to go ahead and hand whip finish. Just one nice little knot right here. Sometimes this thread is difficult. It likes to snag on itself. It doesn't want to tie a good clean knot. Looks like we're good there. And then take your elk hair, pull it back, and you're just going to take your scissors, cut it at an angle, about like that. How are we looking? Pretty good. And then the last step, before we cut the knot, is we're going to take our UV glue. This is just cheap UV glue from Amazon that I've had forever. We're going to take our dubbing needle. I just like to run it up the side because usually it kind of overflows. You'll have enough extra. So we've got our dubbing needle here. And we're just going to kind of rub it all around. Get that head good and covered. Try not to get any in the eye because we don't want to have to deal with that later. So there we go. It's looking pretty good. And then we're going to hit it with our UV light. I'm going to try not to look at it. Alrighty, so that should be good and secure. And then we're going to take our scissors and just cut our thread as close to the knot as we can get. And there you have it. That is your root beer midge emerger. So like I said, super easy to tie, super cheap. I tie them with a little bit bigger hook than what I do with a normal root beer midge. And also, like I said, these can look like caddis, they can look like midges, all sorts of stuff, depending on the colors. You can experiment with different colored tinsel, but it is a great great emerger pattern. Sometimes it just seems to get the job done. And with that bright white, it also seems to help get the fish's attention. One more thing before I leave you. Let me grab another one out of my box. Is oftentimes, I'm going to go ahead and drop this. If you can see that, oftentimes I will tie one. This one's got a huge head, so it's not very good. But I will tie in a little bit of flash so that it is even more of an attractor pattern, and sometimes that seems to help. And if the white elk hair or the flash is too long, you can just clip it with your nippers stream side and you should be good to go from there. So that's all I have for today. We'll see you soon, and I promise come fall we will do some trout fishing with some fly rods here in Arkansas. So have a good one.